Hello, I'm Joseph Crudup, and welcome to my storybook on live stream. Today, this is the part 5 of this book called TD Jakes Before You Do. The part 5, I'm going to read this book, and we must begin with the story. Chapter 5 Before You Join. When you decide to marry someone, you agree to create a new joint production and bears with two or lower as costos. The next chapter, before you decide to love, officially food for thought to help you decide how best to proceed. As a, as a precursor to consider the many dimensions and dynamics that you should consider in low romantic relationship. I first like to turn your attention to another kind of marriage, the union that occurs when individual chooses to have federal a group institution, program, or club, making the decision to commit ourselves to a group of individuals, whether it's a church in our community, a professional organization or our peers, a country club for those who have arrived, or a group devoted to a shared hobby or passion requires these delights similar to any other major decision. Failings and trailers are the others of the gravitably social groups not to assess. God created us to need other people, but international dog marriage as well as socially through community throughout our lives. We're all bombarded with opportunities to belong, from joining the basketball team in high school to a SWAT in college, from the PTA to the NCAA, to the NAACP, from a bridge club to a retirement community. In school, most of us face the usual clues, the jocks, the brains, the papas, the rabbis, the beautiful people. Whether we may have called them, or wherever our own children label them now, the groups remain fairly similar in attraction, homologous members bound by common social categories are culturally intelligent, like tends to attract like as the Greek families provides comfort and security, particularly in the face of the divorceability and miscommunication. The problem with group, whether we are talking high school sports teams or members at the local country club, is that they tend to be exclusive, even if they are open to anyone, and many groups appear to be at all not. They still evaluate group members into a special category that translates the rest of the group. Before you join any group, think it, thought, do the personal cost benefit analysis to determine what's to be gained compared to what you will invest. Read on, and I'll show you how to calculate the profit and loss of joining any group before you do. Sunday school, perhaps the institution or most infected by our inflations with its membership is our local church or place of worship. And we created have more choices and more varieties than even before in our country's history. Ritually, the part of the grasses prove through or relation in public life, conducting its U.S. relations landscape survey, and find that most Americans identifying themselves as belonging to some district religion group. Most of these groups can be categorized into about a dozen major traditions, but within each of these are hundreds of denominations, and thousands of churches within those denominations. Indeed, there seems to be some kind of place of worship for virtually, virtually everyone. Finding such a place, however, a comfortable belonging is not necessary each just because more often in access. It's been said that the church is not emotional for perfect people, but rather a hospital where injured souls are need to recover. This is a good sentiment, but too often our churches can be just as straightening and where they come walking through the doors as the most of the community. Ivy League University. Feet communities should escape the fear of home running exclusively, but tragically, this is not necessarily the case. I've seen many churches whose members enjoying screaming at visitors as if they were the border patrol guarding an internationally boarding guard. It's fun to seek fellowship with like-minded believers, but we should examine our movies and make sure that we aren't merely looking for another business networking opportunity or an other symbol or strategy. Churches should bring people together to worship, to support, to encourage, to assist, to teach, and to unify. Choices of shorts must include an answerness that is a factor with where we are in life and in life and with its ability to meet our current needs. Its prerogative shows operates like a crew. Then do we need then do we really want to belong to it? Shouldn't Sunday school be more about how to love God and other people rather than how to display with and status? When churches operate non essentially, we do well to involve them in insurance. That's shrinking the roles as the unfairly of God's people. When a church has become a country club of social networking and showing off the new Mercedes and the lease door, then it has lost its truly calling. After my father passed away, I joined a church as a young man, leading the intercession of a spiritual family and the accountability of a like-minded community. A mega church would not have likely worked for me at that time because of the size and the ability of new members to remain anonymous. I need a safe and a secure place in which to go to ground and to discover the next season of my life. For me, at that time, I find it in a small rural church. This is not to say that you can't find it in a large umbrella church. The family and the community dynamite empowers many mega churches, usually through small groups and communals of service at the Potter's house. The crown members are naturally connected with one another, similar to the Dinkins, and the main groups made up of a dozen or some individuals. But for me, as a lone man, I created the family style, workshop, and intended setting that as small church efforts. As I grew older, my needs changed, into long dark periods. I found myself spread down by the enormous other responsibilities of my job, my family, and other commitments. I was capable of giving my time and energies to serving the church by setting up shelves before the service, usually leading a Bible study or serving the Luke group. I need a place where I could be fed spiritually and still feel that I belong. We should be able to find songs of teaching it and to see it backing up in the voices ministers of the church. Many parents want their children to attend church so they can so that they can learn the morals values that they hold in high esteems. However, the teaching of values at church does not replace the needs to teach our children or conventions and beliefs at home. Church can be never been a moral replacement for its absence and our actions within their home. Less, it's important for families to worship together, but keep in mind that you can't join just for the sake of the children. You must join a church for your own spiritual needs, and not just the recommendments of your family. Membership in a church should last longer than childhood. What do you join? What do you stay? As social begins, we like to belong. It's human nature, but often belonging becomes more about social status that giving back will happen. Considering the organizations you currently belong to and how long you've been involved with each of them. The types of the organizations you tend to join can reveal a lot about what is important to you. If the reason you join in the first place still hold true, then you should probably remember it and remember and keep doing what you're doing. But if you do, but if you find that the organizations no longer serve low prices need or season of life and are costing you a great deal in financial commitment and time and energy, it may be the two releases lose law infections. Accessories degree. We when we join a group, we are not only included in its privilege but its producers as well. One of the greatest challenges of my career in ministry has been maintaining a non-pastoral policy census. It has not been difficult for me to sustain personality because I believe that a person's internally experiences and intelligence matter more than his or her party affections. However, I have repeatedly found myself the target of Vulture's factions, Pelican, Pelican action groups, and special interests who become frustrated that I will not endorse candidate X or amendment Y on the ballot. I work hard to build bridges and fundraise for all participants involved in the issues to have their side held and their needs met. Another reason I had involved is just politics affecting it is because of the many octopuses and stereotypes that people will make if I came out and support a Democrat or Republican candidate or platform, whether it be a position that I was looking for a way to protect the wealth of business owners or career to the special needs of marginalized constituencies. I will forever be misjudged more than I already am because of such an association. Your decision may be different from mine. So as you consider committing your time, military, military energy, financial resources, professional endorsement, or any other communication to that group, you must be willing to accept their liabilities as law on. Being a them will require you to sign a contract that literally binds binds you to accept financial responsibility and personality live better for the group. You will be bound by their rules even if you disagree with them. Before you move into this before you move into this church, excursion neighborhood or the studying homes you always wanted. Read the fine print on a community covenant contract very carefully. You may not be able to park in your own driveway, paint your house, or plant sensory symbol without having the board of directors approval. Asking yourself if the products, if the products and quality of low life will receive in return is the price. Is worth the price. For many people, the gain is absolutely valuable enough that they don't mind submitting to the group thing by recognizing that you are giving power over certain reveals of low life to the other people who may or may not have low well-being at the center of their agenda. Choosing a choice. The decision to join a church is an important one. Our spiritual lives are the center of our existence, and belonging to a church can do a great deal to achieve our experiences. When choosing a place to worship, you must consider how well a church serves your needs, Lord needs, and those of your family. If you want more intentional experiences and to get to know your fellow worshippers, there are smaller community churches. It's probably a better fit for you than a larger onboard or mega church. Conversely, if your needs include many activities and programs for you and your family, commitments, environment, and all opportunities to serve or board and commitments, then a large church is probably exactly what you need to be. Furthermore, sometimes as our lives change and environment, so do our church needs. Where a large or smaller church may be has served your needs we were single. A different church might be better for you as a family. The other way, ambassadors consistently capitalize on the fact that we want to feel like we belong to the exclusive group of people who are long entirely smart, sexy, hip, and in the know about the latest and greatest. Whether it is the latest diet craze and the book, DVD, and salad dressing that goes with it, or the newest marvel European sports car with its cellular technology and similarly cell harder product product or products are presented to us as this desirable and capable providing us with all we long for and to be. But if you purchase any of these products, you know they cannot give you what you aren't willing to get lots of. You're never going to feel better about yourself simply because of the club to which you belong or the group you join. We must not accept to receive some further or reflections that they cannot begin to provide for us. You may fool anyone in the club. You may fool anyone at the club, at church, in the office, or wherever, but you will be left knowing all your insurances. The only way to feel good about yourself and to grow in confidence is to know who you are and love yourself. This is essentially easier said than done, and requires a lifetime of self-educated education and personal exploration. The Buddhist written and thinker C.S. Lewis once delivered an address titled The Inner Ring, which describes the very human eh, desire to belong, to be the insider, to be above those around us for all. The right, the right reason, the right reasons. Right in usual, all which we all must wrestle. Lewis cautions us to face what's at the core of this desire. Our fear of being outside, who must bear the pain of being rejected and alone. He explains this. As long as you are governed by that desire, you will never get what you want. You are trying to pure an appearance. If you succeed, there will be nothing left until you conquer the fear of being an outsider. And outside you will remain until you have played a backlog well mirrors in your own arsenal of desire. You are likely to set yourself up for disappointment with any group. As long as you can go, as long as you're going into a group knowing that yes, it can be only complaining or factory logos, then you stand a greater achievement of fulfillment. Know who you are apart from being a member of the PTA, president of the Lays Absolutely, chairman of the board of directors, a director of the choir, a director of the chore, a director of the choir. Then you can receive whatever the organization has to offer you without defining yourself by it. Over the years, so many boards, permanent opponents, and counterbalance organizations had asked me to be a member that I had to be very deliberate about where I commit to serve it. The choices have not been indescribable if they are good or wealthy because causes because voluntarily, all of them, or not all. No, the difficulty lies is discriminating when I can affect the most positive changes to my contamination. I will also have to ask myself what I receive from such involvement. As selfish as it may sound, the most important question you can ask before you join any group is, how will this feed me? Yes, you must be careful not to accept too much from your applications with the group, but you must also have so expectations about what it will deliver. Will it help local career? If so, how? Who else belongs to this organization that you would like to meet? Why do you want to meet them? What perks do members do enjoy? How will this church feel Lord spiritual? What do you gain from joining the Toastmasters? Do you really enjoy those weekends practice with the work softball team? If you aren't being fed, then you will end up being a normally member with let another obligation on your plate. None of us needs another commitment that becomes a weight around our necks. We must be able to point to a tangible benefit, an intangible stress factor, or the future return of joining the group is to be worthwhile. The other question you must ask yourself before you join in what can I include in a contribution. Many organizations and destinations want want your time, money, and talents. But I'm very chosen to say that only a full need for you have to offer that no one else can contribute. It may be your dollars, but chances are it's low passive. It's low passive for the cause, low talent for the topper, or your ability to embrace that makes your in property or the time or the team. Many people can donate time and money. Many can set up the chairs for the meeting or make cookies for the reception. And while all of us may have to serve in very humble ways at times, we should know we will that what we give cannot be mistake for the contributing or anyone else. Don't join if you cannot add something new to the group. Make a list of all the infractions, clubs, organizations, and commitments and communities to which you belong. Build a conspiracy that's possible in making law less, including everything from professional organizations to sororities and fraternities, commitments at church or schools, the choir or Dinkins board, the local homeowners board in lawn neighborhood, the the bowler squad at the gym, the election commitment for lawn country representatives. Next to each write out low level of commitments to that group. High, moderate, low, none. After the session of level of law environment next to each one writes how you feel about belonging at this time in your life. Great. Okay. Necessary. Frustrated. Bad. Elect. Identifying the situations that can be solved and take immediate steps to intimidate or mean membership and responsibilities. You will feel lightly and less inculpable and now able to turn your attention to other infractions that will feed your parents' princess need more effectively. My final pieces of advice to is to hand clear boundaries and eliminations concerning the world in the group. If you're coming into carry the fundraiser, then don't let someone concern you into keeping the book for the entire organization. If you promise to mail flowers, don't also agree to speak at the conference unless you really want to. Determining what exactly will be accepted by law participation. Similarly, set a time limit on your season or environment and agree to assess to, at the end of that time. My wife and I used to joke our already anniversary that we have talked over and agreed to renew our contract for another year. But this is not a viable portion to our lifetime commitment or marriage. It is indeed viable for the most of all our other memberships. As your needs change, don't be afraid to cut ties to former organizations that many have served you well in the past, but with no longer meet your current needs. Don't keep attending the same church simply because it's family. Ask yourself if it's still serving your needs and those of your family. Does the club you joined back when you were single still provide you with the kinds of relationships that are appointments for the married man? Many mothers continue to serve on the PTA long after their kids had graduated. More are modest representation than personality participation. We are created to be social beings and belonging to group with shared goals or smaller pursuits is essential to our well-being. However, like any other major decision in your life, you must take a good look, look at the dynamics of your environment before you join. If you're willing to examine your motivator for joining a group, including what you will gain and what you are alone can contribute, then you are much more likely to enjoy law infraction. Making good decisions regarding law infractions becomes the key for making great decisions regarding the individual relationships. The internal question that I encourage from many long people, usually in a half-joking manner, is should I marry for love or for money? My grandmother answered it in a way that reflects such wisdom. Her response was, hang out with a group of rich folks that you like and then marry for love. No parents deliberately send their children out to play with bullies, drug dealers, or gang members. We want our children to surround themselves with responsible, well-behaving, Christian-loving people from good families in nice neighborhoods. Well, this is a good important. We might be better serving children to our infractions before worried about our children. Think about the person you want to become and who you need to associate with to become the black person before you join. That's the end of this book, or this part 5. Next time, part 6 of this book called Before You Decide to Love. Tune in. This is Just Kurt. God bless you, and we'll keep you. Till then, I'm Just Kurt.